This episode of Local Film Talk was recorded in the Green Room at Natty Green's in downtown Raleigh. Perfect for business meetings or just joining friends to watch the big game, the Green Room is the ideal place to host your next event. To learn more, contact David Crack at 919-232-2477 or email David at nattygreens.com.
Welcome to Local Film Talk. We're here at the Green Room in Natty Green's in downtown Raleigh, and we're talking to Michael Babbitt, local filmmaker. So let's get started, obviously, with the beginning. How did you start out with filmmaking?
I knew when I was 12 years old that I wanted to make films.
Was it like a particular movie you saw?
It was actually several. I actually, that's a young age, so 10, 12 is right around the time that you get to, well, at least back in the 70s, when you started to get to be able to go to movies by yourselves and stuff like that. And so as I was doing that, I happened to also be at the dawn of the blockbuster. So I saw one of the first films that I saw in the theater that I saw myself was Jaws. Then later, Star Wars, and then later Alien. But, getting that paradigm shift in theater and cinema from the auteurs of the 60s and early 70s into this blockbuster age was a pretty life-changing event for me. And I'd always been a storyteller as a kid. I, told people stories, I wrote stories, and I said, but I want to tell my stories visually. So I set about doing a bunch of stupid stuff over junior high and high school. Things like, rewriting scripts to popular movies and deciding I was going to film them myself and getting a bunch of friends together and that kind of stuff too. Actually, and producing one film that, thank God, pretty certain doesn't exist anymore. And then I was doing a lot of acting at the time too, because acting is another way to be involved in film, and film at that time was way more expensive than it is now.
Now, you do it like 16 millimeter,
Super 8 millimeter,
okay.
Yeah. Just getting a camera was the easy part back then. The rolls of film were, like I want to say, man, I just remember we spent something like $1,200 or $1,300 on 15 rolls of film.
Which are each only a couple minutes, right?
Yeah, and that was all our that was our budget.
Wow.
Everything else we had costumes and all that kind of stuff we had to come up with because we spent it all on, and that didn't even include processing. So we did that, but then I went in the military because I said my family wasn't essentially well off, and I knew that I wanted to go to film school. And at the time, the blockbusters, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, all these people.
I went to USC.
Exactly. So where did I want to go? I wanted to go to USC.
Now, where'd you grow up?
Missouri, St. Louis.
Okay.
So so I said, well, I'm never going to be able to afford it myself, so I'll go into the military. So I went in the military, and then got out and went to college in something that completely unrelated to the arts. But eventually, over the span of about 2 years, got sucked back into it. Yeah. But it was more on the acting side. I was doing some films at the time, not myself. I was working with a guy that I knew in high school who had met some other guy that was a local filmmaker in the St. Louis area, and they were making some short films. So I started doing some work on those, directed a couple of myself. I actually still have footage and one of those completed films as well. So, but it was mainly on the acting side, and I decided to pursue that. And so I finished my degree there, then got my MFA, came here to get my MFA. I went to Playmakers at UNC, and stayed in the area because I liked it a lot, and did more acting around this area and around other areas and stuff like that. And then I began to really feel this urge that acting was just not what I wanted to do. It wasn't the way I wanted to tell stories. I was starting to actually do more directing on stage as well. So basically then I just decided, I really need to move back into doing film. So in 2007, started the company off on a whim. A friend of mine had written a script, actually, well, he's the same guy that wrote the script for our feature, but he wrote the script that he had sent to me like 2 years earlier. My wife and I had been talking about the film stuff, and I was working on the computer one night, and I dug through this old folder as I was cleaning some stuff out, and I opened up the script and I read it, and I was like, you know what? This would actually be really, really pretty simple to do. It's a bunch of guys sitting around a table playing Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, it's a topic that I know like the back of my hand, so it's not like I'm gonna have to do any research on it. So I can
So
like.
you played D&D?
Oh, dude, I've been. I was a role player since 1980. First edition, baby. Not original white
That's old
box,
school.
but yeah.
Now, see, I've known people who like a couple people like in filmmaking who are in that same boat, you know, who used to like role play and stuff. And I played with some friends in college or in high school for about a year or two, and I think that probably more than anything else I ever did really helped me like with writing and
It's
figuring out
amazing.
characters
It's
and stuff.
fantastic. Are you kidding? You get a bunch of people, you get instantaneous reactions to the stories you're telling and how they react to it. And if you really pay attention to it, it tells you how to create. Absolutely. My experience as a dungeon master for role playing is so inherent to my ability as a storyteller. It's just, I mean, you know, you could say, well, does one come before the other or anything like that? But I think it gave me a chance to flex my muscles and try things. And
As a dungeon master, you are essentially like a director working with actors.
absolutely.
So you get to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah. No, totally. And so that's what we did for our first shoot. And you know, it was tough because there was a huge learning curve. And the story, I think Chris's script was a lot of fun, but my abilities as a filmmaker at that time were still, I mean, that's the first thing I'd done in 15 years.
Wow.
With film. So, you know, there's a lot of mistakes, there's a lot of, with sound, I decided, well, this is the technical age, so I'm going to I have this little device that we're just going to run the sound, and we're going to record it straight into Soundtrack on my Mac, on my little laptop, and we'll record it straight there, and it'll be right there, and we'll save it. We won't have to have a recording device, which was great until the power went out. And I was on a laptop, and I was thinking, woo, on a laptop, power went out, great, save, no problem. All right, so we go through the rest of the day, we get finished, and I go back, and I sit down, and I go, and I look for the sound, and I'm going to listen to it, and the entire day's sound was all gone. And I was like, where is it? Well, the hard drive where we were recording to was not on a battery when the power went out.
Oh.
And so when we saved, it didn't record to it. And so I lost the entire, so we had to use the mic off the camera.
Oh, God.
And it's horrible.
Holy cow. Lesson learned, though, right?
Exactly. And
There you go.
and that lesson right there, as soon as that finished, I said, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm never touching sound again. We're hiring somebody to do it. I don't want to have to deal with that ever again because, you know, too many things to deal with. One, I need to divest some so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm not an expert on sound. I have no interest in it other than I want it to be really, really, really good.
Right.
So I moved back into film, and then the major reasons I formed the company was because, well, I wanted to direct. Two, I wanted to be able to provide jobs for people. And three, I wanted to shoot a feature film within 5 years. So those have been the goals of the company.
And this was in 2007?
2007. Yes, we're a little behind on the feature.
So you started by forming a company. So this isn't just like a little like vanity label you put on stuff. You actually have an LLC.
This is an LLC. I pay taxes, and it's freaking expensive. And I don't make any money. So
good to know, because that's what I got to look forward to.
Yes, it sucks. I think it's ridiculous. But you know, what are we gonna do? Buck the government?
Yeah,
Let's start a revolution.
They want their cut.
Yes, they do. They want their cut. You know, yeah. But anyway, so you know, we're a little bit behind on the feature. We have in the last 3 films, we've paid everybody on our sets. There have been a few people that haven't been paid, which I've not been comfortable with. But you know, we're not paying everybody like you know, these great wages that they're going to be able to make a living off of. That is something I want to come, but you know, that's got to grow.
Right.
But from the get-go, Those 3 things were very important to me. I don't want to do this if I can't provide other jobs for other people to do this.
Right.
And I don't want to do this if for me to be able to do this, I'm going to keep having to ask people to do it for free and to make them come out on their own time while, you know, so that I can do the thing that I want to do. I mean, that's, come on. I mean, okay, if you want to do that, that's great. But to me, I want to do this because I love it, but I also want to make a living at it.
Right.
And if I want to make a living at it, I damn well better think that other people want to make a living at it. So, and I'm going to treat them that way. What we're trying to do is we're trying to time the release of the film with the events that take place in the film.
Okay.